Hey, Mike Callahan, wanted to see if you're making these top three mistakes when automating your service business, whether it's lawn care or home cleaning. We find when you're going to automate a business that a lot of times we make these mistakes. The first one is not understanding what to automate. Are you trying to automate a specific maintenance task or a marketing function? Before you actually go in to automate the system, we need to be able to fully understand the process and tasks of the system. So creating an executable blueprint. You can't really go out and build a house without a blueprint. So it would be like my wife handing me a picture out of Better Homes and Gardens and saying, I want you to build this house to the contractor myself. Obviously, we couldn't build that house because we don't know what structurally goes into it. So before we automate, we really need to have an executable blueprint and all the process and systems or tasks that go along the way that build the whole entire automation. So we need a full understanding of what we're automating and to make sure it works, because if it's not working, we're going to multiply a broken system or task. Number two is going to be automating large independent tasks. A lot of times we see when people first go to build automations, they look at something that I've built here in the last 6 or 7 years where it's this massive automation. But really, when you break it down, similar to what we built at Simple Growth or other experts in automations that I look at myself, is that they're really an accumulation of small independent tasks. So we're not going to create one large, massive automation, because when we need to go and update it, or if it breaks, we need to be able to go in and find where it actually broke or update it in that specific spot. So by creating a large automation, it's really hard to follow, it's hard to update, and it's hard to troubleshoot. So that's the second thing, is basically do not automate large independent tasks. Create a bunch of small automations that work to each other and are connected that way. So if something breaks, we need to update it. It's just so much easier. So we're going to accumulate all these tiny parts over an extended period of time. Let's start with the little wins and then go to the larger tasks as we go out in the next few years. And the third is basically a lack of supervision. We can hurt ourselves. With automation, there comes a huge responsibility and power that we come in there. So don't take the competitive advantage, because really it's not bleeding edge, but it's cutting edge in the service industry right now. So don't take that competitive advantage of automations and turn it into your company's biggest failure, blasting out 2,000 to 3,000 emails or creating 1,000 to-dos. You can alienate your customer base, or even worse, you could alienate your internal staff, where it's so clunky and it's not predictable, and it's not a good workflow where people don't want to come to work in your office anymore, and you could lose your key office staff. So these are the three biggest things right now that we're seeing in mistakes in automation. So I wanted to make a video for you to go out and be aware of these. So number one was basically not understanding what you're automating. So those particular tasks or systems, create that executable blueprint. Automating large independent tasks. Let's get a bunch of little wins and connect them. So when we update them, if the system breaks, something happens, it's very controllable. We're going to minimize our risk and possibility of hurting ourselves. And the last thing is lack of supervision. We need to watch these automations, especially if you're on a platform like Service Autopilot. Their system is continually updating. They're pushing the envelope with their development. So we got to make sure that our automations play well with the new developments. That's not a bad thing. That's really a great thing, because the system keeps developing and there's more functionality being added. So we got to keep an eye on that. And I would also, under lack of supervision, have some supervision of your employees or key staff that are having access to your automations, because the more hands you have on it, the bigger risk there is for someone to break it or fire off some miscommunication. So hopefully these three big mistakes, or the biggest mistakes we see in automations right now, will help you be more successful and avoid some of the pitfalls of not having a background in automation. So we're here to help. If you have any comments or questions, drop it below.